Moving on, Prime Minister Narendra Modi attended the Bastille Day celebrations in Paris as the guest of honor today. French President Emmanuel Macron expressed his pride in welcoming Prime Minister Modi as the guest of honor. He further emphasized that India and France would play a decisive role in the future as strategic partners. The parade included, remember, Indian soldiers marching down the iconic Champs-Élysées Avenue, and the Indian Air Force's Rafale jets also featured in the fly park. That's not all. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has also become the first Indian PM to be conferred with the Grand Cross of the Legion of Honor, France's highest civilian and military honor. According to a statement by the Ministry of External Affairs, the Prime Minister expressed gratitude to the President of France for this exceptional honor on behalf of the people of India. The Grand Cross of the Legion of Honor, bestowed by France, is another notable addition to a series of prestigious international awards and honors that have been given to Prime Minister Narendra Modi from various countries. A quick check of the Prime Minister's schedule today. Remember, today is the second and final day of his engagements in France. So he has two more big engagements today, and both of them are important. At 8:30 p.m. India time, there is a ceremonial reception, a tete-a-tete, a delegation-level talk, and also a joint statement to look forward to. And then at 10:30 p.m. later tonight, the Prime Minister will attend a CEO forum to talk more business. Remember, this has also become one of the hallmarks of his international visits. One, the chat with the diaspora, and then, of course, meeting with the business leaders. So speaking of the chat with the diaspora, there is one gift that the Prime Minister offered to all Indians, especially the ones who travel from India to France for vacations. India's most successful payment system, UPI, will now be used in France. Prime Minister Narendra Modi made this announcement while addressing the Indian diaspora in Paris. Allowing UPI in France will open up huge possibilities in the way Indians can spend. UPI will be able to do away with cumbersome forex cards, for example, or the need to carry foreign currency. UAE, Bhutan, Nepal are just some of the countries that have already adopted the UPI system. So it's time to say bonjour UPI in France, one other way in which India is making a mark on the world. To talk more about the significance of the UPI move in France, I'm joined by Mr. Ritesh Shukla, who is CEO, NPCI International Payments Limited, which is NIPL. How significant, Ritesh, do you see this move of France adopting the UPI payments, making it easier for all kinds of people, especially Indians traveling there, to make these payments via their phones? Because it has been adopted already by several markets, including some in Europe. But how important do you see this as a development?
So I think here there are two aspects we'd like to highlight. One is the existing flows. That means, tourism that's happening from India to Europe, and definitely France is amongst the largest attractor of the inbound tourism. I'm told that Indians are the second largest group of people who visit Eiffel Tower after Americans. So it's a significant kind of a milestone. When this partnership goes live, Indians using their different UPI powered apps such as Bhim UPI will be able to transact using apps from India and carry out their merchant payments seamlessly in a very important tourist market for Indians. That's one. The second aspect is, as India is growing and is likely to be third largest economy in times to come. That would mean that higher per capita income.
Yes.
And in return, that would mean that more discretionary spend happening. And when people get into discretionary spends, I think traveling for holidays is one of the very, very important aspects. So one is we are solutioning for the existing flow, and we are also kind of catering or designing for the flows that will happen in future because of the economic growth that is going to happen in India. So it's very, very significantly important for us, this opportunity.
So one thing, Ritesh, that everybody would want an answer to is exactly when does this start? Could you give us a sense of the timeline?
We are still, a few months away because one is right now we have connected the two, platforms. Now we have to, get merchants onboarded on the platform, and this would mean for some legwork on the French side. So we'll work with our partner to kind of help them early onboard the consumers on the platform so that our travelers from India can seamlessly enjoy this. And on the India side, I think we'll have to work with banks to be able to offer this service to more and more consumers when they travel.
Okay, so you're saying there's some legwork required, but for the benefit of our viewers, just so that there is no confusion, I want to understand how will this work in the sense that are there going to be any extra charges, for example, for Indian consumers when they pay via their phones, when the currency is converted from rupees, or is there any carrier charge or added service charge when they use this?
So, if you look at today, what's happening is that today, when people are traveling outside, primarily there are two ways that they are paying. One is they buy foreign currency in India through the exchange houses, and take cash foreign currency and use that for carrying out their transactions. The other is they use credit cards, and there are economic aspects associated with these two kind of channels as we speak today. But when we are looking at enabling UPI usage, I think we are going to create advantages for the consumers from India when compared to these two kind of channels. And of course, we'll have to get into specifics as we go live. But I think the guiding principles, yeah, we are looking at adding value, not so that more and more people adapt, because our focus is to generate scale and drive adoption like the way UPI has done in India in terms of the domestic payment landscape.
You already answered this a little bit about why you think, France is bringing on the UPI payments, because you said that the second largest tourist group to Eiffel Tower, for example, is Indians. So they have that reason to do so. But I do want to understand in a broader picture, why is it that so many countries are so keen to get the UPI on? Is it because the Indian tourist market is so high, or India is becoming, a greater financial power? Why do you think they're interested in UPI?
So, any country that is dependent on tourism as a sector, would want to create enablers for more and more tourists to come. And today, if you look at the performance of UPI in India, UPI is doing about between 7 to 8 billion transactions a month. And if that's the number we have, and it's growing like 8 to 9% on a month-on-month basis. With that kind of growth, anybody who's serious about inbound tourism market is going to get attracted because it helps them create more business opportunities for the tourism sector there, which would mean the hotels, the restaurants, the shopping places, malls, and all. So it is in their business interest to create avenues enabling Indian travelers to be able to spend using their most preferred payment method in India.
Absolutely. And UPI, of course, is one of those payment methods. As you said, it is the most preferred, but it is actually a leader by leaps and bounds. My final question to you, could you give us a sneak peek, if at all you can reveal to us what lies in the future? What more markets are you looking at? Which countries are likely to adopt the UPI soon?
So, Shivani, what I would like to highlight here is that, we have a strategy in place, which actually means that we have identified key markets which are of relevance and importance to Indians. And we are in different stages of discussion with these markets.
Okay.
Sometimes it takes a little longer for a certain market than the other because, systems are wired differently, they are created differently. So you have to create a common, language for the systems to talk. And once you develop that, language, then the message exchange to enable payments becomes easier. So we are in, different phases of discussion with different markets.
Okay.
But we have clearly identified markets that are of importance and relevance to Indian travelers. And we are working on these markets with full commitment and ownership.
All right. I won't press you any further. I know you're not going to give me any more details. But Ritesh Shukla, thanks a lot for joining us on the big achievement by UPI. More and more international countries, foreign countries adopting the Indian payment system. What an achievement for India. And that makes it a great day. There's, of course, the Chandrayaan 3 and, of course, this announcement as well.